All right, well, here's a few news articles. This one is very nice. This security researcher investigated this Nex products, which are smart home products, and they open a garage door over the internet with a phone app. And he found serious security flaws and was unable to get anybody to do anything about it at the company, and it's still unpatched. And he even went to CISA, the U.S. federal agency, and he went to somewhere else, and they tried to contact the company. Yeah, CISA and U.S. CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, or VICE, VICE media group that publishes a lot of very well-known newspapers and such, or newspaper magazine sort of things on the internet. Anyway, none of these people could get the company to pay any attention, and they just deliberately cancel any complaints about the product. So they appear to refuse to fix their product. And it is pretty bad. Here, they have hard-coded credentials. When you register your garage door so you can open it, it sends your app a password, which it stores in the app, and it's the same password for everybody's garage door. So you can, say, open anybody else's garage door. And there's a bunch of authorization bypasses, which are also called insecure direct object references, where there are requests you can make that do not verify that you are the right person before it honors them. So you can open garage doors anywhere in the world remotely over the internet, and you can turn power plugs on and off for their smart plugs. So it's pretty serious, and the company is spectacularly irresponsible at not fixing any of it. So, and he spent months trying to get them. He started notifying people on January, and they ignored him, ignored CISA, ignored everybody, and all decided they're going to just release it publicly in April, just so everybody knows not to buy stuff from these rotten people. So that's Nex. If you have any of this stuff, get rid of it, because the company seems to be shot. So I thought this was an April Fool's joke. I didn't pay attention when I first saw this, but Musk really did change the logo of Twitter to Doge, and this, of course, made Dogecoin jump up by 25%. And he has done this many times, and he is being sued for insider trading or market manipulation or something. He's done this a lot. He buys cryptocurrency, then he tweets about it, and it goes up and he makes money. So it'll be interesting to see if this is actually a crime or not. There is a common crime on the internet called pump and dump, where you go into a chat room and talk up some product just to make it go up, and then you dump it. So if he shows a pattern of buying and selling, matching the price fluctuations he creates with his social media posts, then there's probably some grounds for prosecuting him. Anyway, he certainly loves to put Dogecoin logos on things, and the price jumps up and down. When he appeared on Saturday Night Live and said Dogecoin was a hustle, Dogecoin fell down. He can totally move it. Donald Trump used to impress his friends like this when he was president. He would put something on Twitter and watch the stock market move and say it's just amazing he can do that. If you're famous enough, you can move it around that way. This is another very interesting attack. And various versions of this have been around before, where all the voice-activated devices like Google Assistant, Cortana, and Alexa are sensitive not only to normal human speech, but they're also sensitive to near ultrasonic sounds, which can be too high-pitched and too quiet for a human to hear. So you can add those extra sounds to something else that someone might play, like a YouTube music, or for one of these lectures, for example. You could add commands there, and the commands will be understood and executed by these voice-sensitive things, and the human listeners will never know it happened. So they demonstrate this in all various types of devices. It seems to be a fundamental flaw in the devices, and it's not clear how they're going to be able to fix it. Hello, Ronnie. So a lot of people at colleges are very worried about ChatGPT. Now, some colleges have already come out and said they do not want to punish students who use ChatGPT to write their term papers. They say this would be foolish. They ought to use any tool that's good enough. We ought to encourage them to explore tools and grade things on their quality. And if they can get a better term paper by using ChatGPT, then you should just integrate it in. Hopefully they put some work in editing it and stuff, because ChatGPT makes a lot of mistakes. But another thing a lot of people are doing, Turnitin is the company that a lot of people have been using for years now. A lot of colleges, Turnitin tries to detect plagiarism and other forms of fraud. and they added a ChatGPT detector to it, and it's pretty bad. It makes a lot of mistakes. In particular, it flags non-AI generated content as AI generated, which is the worst thing you can do as a teacher. When you have an honest student that did the work and you accuse them of cheating, you greatly impair the relationship you need to have with students, and it's a really rotten thing to do. That's why I certainly have no intention of using any of this, but it is a big issue.
The next lot.
What's that?
These two articles, next lot is a Texas company.
And Next is in Texas, yeah. Yeah, it's an American company, I think, but they're just ignoring all the complaints. Now the next, actually, I do not think there is any, well, I don't know if you could force them to pay attention. Maybe you could sue. You probably could sue if you could show damages. If somebody got their house broken this way and had damages, then you could sue for liability. That's one thing to do. But I don't think you can punish someone just for being insecure and ignoring security warnings. I don't think that's a crime yet. So CISA, that same government agency, has a known exploited vulnerabilities list, which is, as opposed to other lists of vulnerabilities, these are ones that are known to currently being under attack by threat actors. And so somebody went and scanned the internet with Shodan and found 15 million public-facing services with these vulnerabilities, and a lot of them are very old. So it shows there's an awful lot of people running servers, running really old versions of stuff. They're not putting on their updates, and they're vulnerable to known exploited vulnerabilities. So this is, the internet is a very target-rich environment. The attackers that just learn how to do simple attacks against vulnerabilities that are years old can take over a lot of servers. And this matches another finding that several years ago they did a study and found that almost all the actual realistic attacks are against vulnerabilities that are years old. People very rarely use 0 days or attack the latest thing because you can see there's no need to. There's plenty of things to attack without bothering to update the attack tools. All right, and this is pretty interesting. There is a thing called SFX, a self-extracting file. Now, you can make self-extracting zip archives, but you can also make self-extracting WinRAR archives. And WinRAR is an old compression scheme. It used to be really popular before 7-zip became popular, and some people still like it. Anyway, the archive can have PowerShell commands embedded in it, and it turns out that they are not detected by most antivirus tools right now. They didn't realize that. So when you unzip it, it will execute. You can put in code that will run before it unzips. And that code is executed in PowerShell and not picked up by antivirus. This is a cute attack. It would be fun to get a version of this going and see how good it is. But it's a clever trick. It reminds me of alternate data streams. There was a time about 10, 15 years ago, the alternate data streams are a second stream of data attached to the same file name, and there's a time when antivirus products did not know about that either. And you could hide things in alternate data streams, and the antivirus would not catch it. So the efile.com IRS authorized tax return software, their server has been compromised, and the software that the IRS sends you to is serving up JavaScript malware. There's malicious obfuscated JavaScript on it that tries to load more code. It's not clear that actually is a complete attack that actually does real harm right now, but it does go to this info amannewlineliag.online website and tries to load more stuff there. And it's been that way for at least 2 weeks. So anyway, it's a thing to know. It happens every now and then to servers. It's a shame when it happens to one that's actually being used by the U.S. government and recommended by the U.S. government. Hopefully they'll clean it off. So Tor makes this anonymity network that bounces your packets off several other servers so nobody can tell where you are. And they have a special browser called Vidalia that they give you to use the Tor network. But now they're making another one. They're making something called a Molvad browser, which is intended to be used with a VPN, not an onion network. And what this does, actually, is it tries to protect your privacy by just not allowing third-party cookies, not allowing other things that track your browser. It's just doing the kind of thing you could do with any browser if you had the right settings. It's just trying to make it more difficult for advertisers to track you by removing your browser's fingerprint, by removing the unnecessary identifying features in your browser that could be used to target you. Wasn't California's EDD verifying tool insecure too? I don't know about that. EDD is some kind of financial assistance program. I don't know about that at all. If you have a link, I'll add it. Unemployment? Okay, good. Yeah, if you find a link, DJ, I'll add it. Verify me. Okay, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. Government sites tend to be, poorly written and poorly maintained because they tend to be underfunded and have staff that's not up to date.
Employment development something.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Anyway, this is actually very relevant to the CISSP class. Tabletop exercises are where you pretend to have a breach, and then you have the technical staff and the management staff there talking about it, and they say these things are very valuable. I would like to do this sort of thing in my class, but I don't really understand how it runs. These guys have developed a new version of it. They're going to demonstrate at RSA. And it would be nice if I could learn enough about these to have these. They say it turns out to be extremely useful. So you tell you've been hit with a ransomware attack, and then your technical people talk about what they can do, and your management people, and your HR people, and your public relations people, and everybody plans what to do. There's a lot. This is the thing the military does in many ways. They talk about, suppose a nation invades and they blow up our military and we have only part of it left. What will we do? And they plan what to do. They also had a big one. Yeah. Well, this is one form of red team versus blue team, but this is only blue team. Here you just have like some kind of master ceremonies that tells you you're under attack. It's not a real red team, and you don't have real computers or real malware. You just present the scenario, and then you say what you're going to do. And when this works, I've read a lot of good things about it. People get in arguments, and management makes demands, and technical people explain why they can't do that. And that's the point. It's supposed to give you the experience, so you're more prepared when a real attack happens. Anyway, I would like to do this if I can figure out how to organize it. And these guys have a new plan to do it. So anyway, and this is a philosophy that runs Elon Musk. A very interesting article in Salon explaining it. And Elon Musk and many other famous people like this. And what this is just the modern version of the old eugenics. Eugenics has been around forever. The Nazis had it, and a lot of people had it before the Nazis, where you say we're going to try to get rid of all the inferior humans and breed superior humans, and just kill off the poor people and all the ethnic groups we think are inferior and create the super race. And what these guys do is they figure out that we're going to become disembodied beings in a simulated universe in a computer, and the number of people in there will be enormous. And so what we really need to do now is to prepare for that. Somehow they figured out that they think 10 to the 45 people will live in a simulated universe in a computer. And we have to prepare for that. And so this rapidly turns into the same nonsense of 10 to the 58 people. They said 10 to the 58 people will live in the future in a computer as a simulation, and it doesn't matter what happens to real people today. We just have to do whatever's necessary to make that glorious future come about, because that large number of future simulated people are worth more than all the humans alive today. And this is like all eugenics movements have always had this. You make some sort of religious, ridiculous fantasy about some good long away, and that gives you excuse to be mean to everybody right now, because it's for the greater good, and the people around you are to be sacrificed for this glorious future. So it's pretty scary stuff, and that is definitely what Elon Musk believes, and a lot of powerful people. So we're not really that far from the ancient days when the kings were just out of touch with the reality and just trampling on the commoners and using them like disposable pawns with some thin moral pretext for it.